Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am Cindy and Andrews, and I'm joined by the outgoing, I guess that's the term that we will use in this transitionary period, President of the University of the West Indies Guild of Students, Mr. Warren Anderson. Good evening, Warren. How are you doing tonight?
Thank you, Cindy. And the outgoing title begins once the election is determined. So,
Ah,
but otherwise, I'm great. I'm here, and it's good to be here.
great. Well, this evening we're happy to launch our partnership, our official step in collaborating with the University of the West Indies and by extension, the University, or more so specifically, the University of the West Indies Guild of Students. And I think I'm for sure I'm ecstatic about this collaboration as someone that has actively participated in the guild council election process as both a voter and a candidate. I think I feel a bit nostalgic not running this year, but also I am more appreciative of the process, being behind the scenes and working with the team to ensure that everything runs smoothly. I know that we are in a new age of election. I remember when we did it last year and even in my first year, a lot of persons were saying, but why are we not doing this online? And well, I guess now we have to find ways to integrate it to ensure that it's efficient, effective, and it is transparent and most importantly, get the job done. Now, for most of you who are not familiar with Youth Votes Matter, we are a non-partisan organization that aims to promote advocacy in terms of democracy for young persons across the region. And we would have done numerous election coverage in countries such as Belize, Trinidad, Tobago. We even went across to Jamaica, and we've just been expanding the horizons to ensure that young persons have the opportunity to actively engage in the discussion and have their concerns and their opinions on the matters expressed with persons who are experts within the field, who are vying for office, and persons like themselves that hope to have leaders that are accountable, transparent, and will get the job done. Now, Warren is just going to touch on what this collaboration means from the Guild of Students perspective, and then we're going to jump into some of the juicy and exciting and informative topics that you can look forward to from this collaboration.
Thank you, Cindy. Well, the Youth Votes and the Guild of Students collaboration means an extension of our will to grow a responsible electorate nationally and regionally. And we see the student leadership as one step in achieving this mandate. Certainly, as much as the Guild Council is responsible for mediating issues on the campus between the student body and the administration, we are also responsible for advocating on behalf of young people and the nation of Trinidad and Tobago at large. And certainly we do have a regional voice as well as the St. Augustine campus in combination with our inter-campus guild council, which comprises of all the university campuses across the region. So we're very particular and serious about that mandate, and youth voice, youth votes campaign allows us this opportunity to expand that will. So I'm here to help kickstart the project this year, and we know that we will be looking forward to seeing it extend even beyond the election period.
Now, Warren, when we did this pitch, one of the things that I was most excited about was the continuity and the opportunity to have a sustainable avenue and platform that this collaboration provides. And what this means is that when we create this space moving forward, we can only build and expand the services that we offer to the student body. And I really like how we have this regional voice because sometimes we think that the University of the West Indies is solely the students that live within the area that it is located, whether it be Jamaica, if it's Mona, Cayville, if it's Barbados, or Trinidad, if it's St. Augustine. But having a platform like this really allows persons to actively engage in the conversation around the election period where they may not be that opportunity. Because having gone through the process, we know what it is like, and we know that there's not that amount of flexibility in terms of actively engaging in the discussion. And we want to be able to provide that platform for healthy discussion and critical analysis so that persons can make an informed decision when voting. And I think along and across the board, that is something that we have tried to do. One, increase voter turnout and participate, and two, ensure that persons are critically analyzing the options for representation. And for me, working continuously on this team, it has really opened my eyes to a lot of the issues affecting voter turnout, voter participation, and even apathy among young persons within the voting demographic. And I know, and it's something that I would have heard, and I know you may be able to touch on it, but across the years, we have seen a decrease in participation and turnout with the guild election. Sometimes we see the divide when we have the forums. We see a lot of people, and we see when we do the posters, they are all over, and we have persons engaging on the ground. But when it's time for us to go to the polls, we often don't get that support. So do you think that moving into this online space, we may be able to curtail that or even put a dent into it in terms of increasing that turnout? What are your hopes coming into this project with us?
Well, I mean, there has been a decrease in the electorate turnout over the years, but it begs different questions, really. Uh, One, I believe, is a question of marketing and promotion. And marketing really requires that you get to know your target market and what they're really about. How can you reach them? Whereas as people in an academic space, that there are different types of learners, and so there are different types of engagement that are required. As much as we have the information in the guild constitution, it's one thing to say, go check your constitution and expect people to read it. But it's another thing to actually break down the parts of the constitution and present it in different formats that would be palatable to different types of learners, different types of students and people who engage differently, right? So that's one consideration, marketing, which is studying the groups that we need to get to. I would also say promotion, which is a subset of marketing, and really thinking about the distribution channels and how we get the message out. Social media, I like to say, is a beast by itself, and it requires a lot of learning and expertise to be used properly, to function properly. There's a misconception that because we all can easily mount a social media profile, that we can all use it, when the fact is social media is evolving daily. The teams, the technical teams who work behind it, they are constantly evolving these apparatus that we use, so much so that many people can catch up. Yes, we post the pictures and we post the content and these things, but it's always shifting around us. So in order to use it optimally, it requires a lot of focus, a lot of learning, expertise in order to get that done. So in order for us to bridge the gap with social media, with information technology on a whole, it's going to take a year-long effort. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take studying university students on a whole in order to maximize our voter turnout. It it will take a combination of efforts, and this campaign is one of those efforts that we've mounted. We have consistently had support from the Marketing and Communications Department of the UWI. And then, of course, the elections management team, they engage in terms of disseminating the information on a yearly basis. Certainly, one part of it that we ought to consider is promotion from the candidates themselves and the kind of work, the kind of legwork they do to get themselves out there. This generates in the interest of the electorate to participate in the elections. But certainly, elections are not about elections alone. They are about engagement with the student population throughout the entire year, and they are about communicating what the value of the council really is. I think this year that we have put ourselves out there as a council in terms of representing. But however, because of the circumstances of the pandemic, um, communication has really been challenged. There's a lot of burnout with using devices and engaging through video and social media, etc. So that becomes a challenge for us. Whether or not we would see ballooning of voter turnout this year, it's difficult to say. One of the things that I know really encourages participation is a good fight, great competition, especially in the position of president. And this year we have a sole candidate, so maybe that kind of competition might come from lower within the ranks of the candidates. But you know, here in the Caribbean, we certainly like to see a good competition. That said, the election is more than just about the competition. It's about electing people who you really think could offer that the student body. And so we really look forward to seeing the focus remain there as best as possible.
And Warren, I really appreciate how you jumped off touching on the Constitution. And when I spoke in the beginning, I mentioned education as one of the forefronts in the cornerstones that we will be focusing on in this collaboration. And I do agree. We must ensure that the information is palatable to the different types of learners, viewers, and, as you say, the marketing strategies and techniques come into play. So one of the initiatives that we have will be providing that whole insight into the Constitution as it relates to the election process, so that persons are more knowledgeable about what happens or what is supposed to happen constitutionally. And I think when we empower persons by providing them with these short snippets of information, they would be encouraged to go into, because like, for me, when I see something, I want to know what is the true context that this document is operating in. And I think once we have more persons with that spark to know more, it really pushes us in that direction to have a more informed electorate, as you said. And we will be working with those algorithms. I know with social media, to some, is just tap, repost, share, but it really goes a long way in terms of ensuring that the content gets there. And we are so happy to be collaborating. This is a supporting role to some extent, because we are going strictly with what happens with the larger scheme of things. But we are so happy to be here providing this platform for the discussion to occur. And I do agree. I think as we move forward, we will be able to build on what is happening now, because we have to take into consideration the pandemic. We have to take into consideration the restructuring of the school assessment modules. I think when we look at it, one of the things that jumped out when I saw nominations were open is balancing school and guild. Because guild is a job, you know. Guild is a job. And I say this with all the enthusiasm you have when you love something and you want to pursue it. But I also say it with the stark realism that it has a certain level of responsibility that going into it, you must mentally prepare, because guild is work. It is work for the people, by the people. And because it's work for the people, by the people, it really requires you to go the extra mile in terms of ensuring that you have covered your bases as you try to represent young persons and the student population. Now, when we go into the season and we have the online forums, I think most persons may try to, go into it in a different way. Because it's online, we think we may have some more flexibility. But you can come to Youth Votes Matter. We have all the information. We will be ensuring that we send you all to the UWI St. Augustine page to get everything that you need, but we will also have it. So the more persons, the more pages that we have sharing the information, the more opportunities we have for it to reach our target audience, which is the University of the West Indies students. We are for UWI, by UWI. Ironically, I am also a student of the University of the West Indies, and our lovely president, well, he had to be. So this just ensures that we meet our target audience. Our goal is to ensure that our electorate, the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine students are informed. Yes, we know we will be open to other viewers across the Caribbean, but this election process strictly relates to the University of the West Indies St. Augustine students, and we are so happy to have their support moving forward in terms of engagement. We do have some activities to ensure that persons are interacting and they are knowledgeable of what is going on. Now, Warren, I know the process may be a bit different, and we have the preliminary list that was released today, and we have the excitement, and we have the campaigning buzz. I know I'm excited. So I'm encouraging all persons, ensure that you check your emails so that you don't miss out on the information that is coming to you. We will try to keep it as up to date as possible so that if I know some persons may have trouble accessing their student emails, but we are here as supporting, as I said, we're through and through, by and by, to ensure that things get done. Now, in ensuring that your voice matters, and in this instance, your voice is your vote. Your voice is your vote. We would like to encourage the students to ensure that you take this time to attend the forums. It's online, so you do have the opportunity to jump in on a live, even if you're in class, have your friend make some notes about what is going to be offered by the persons that are vying to represent you. We know some positions are uncontested, and I am interested in seeing how that goes. Warren, I know you might be too. And we do have some new positions on the list. So if you have not checked out the preliminary list of candidates, I am encouraging you. The guild has been working for you, and we hope that the new guild will continue to build on all the legacies that have gone. Now, Warren, do you have any little hints that you can drop for us of what to expect for this period?
What to expect? Well,
What
I
to
mean,
expect? Are we going
well,
to have to do a online Google form? What can we mentally prepare our students for? Because I know the concern would be one, accessibility. I know a lot of persons have been having difficulties online in terms of accessing certain systems, certain platforms. And I think going into this space, we don't want this server overload that happens when we have assignments to submit to occur. So I think these are just some of the concerns that may be voiced moving forward. So I think we should prepare ourselves for that. But I'm also throwing it out to you so that we could, put things in place to ensure that it's safe.
yeah, that's a good question, Cindy. I would focus on two things in response to that. One, every student has access to their student account, and I know it is a practice for some to ignore it or even some to use forwarding in their inbox to forward it to their personal email. I've been informed recently that there are some issues with that due to some changes with Microsoft. So now is a good time for every student, every member of the Guild of Students to practice entering their mailbox, right? For several reasons. One, and this is just outside of the election, some general knowledge. Your student email and your student account gives you access to over 1 terabyte of or 1 terabyte exactly of space on the Microsoft Drive using Microsoft OneDrive. So for all the files that you have and for all the other cloud services that we tend to struggle with, where they're very limited in space, your student account is paid for by your funds, and it is something that you should use, right? So you have access to that. You also have access to the Microsoft suite. So for many of us that are struggling with the little alert that comes up with Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint, and we're using the limited version, no. Your fees pay for a professional version of Microsoft Office and you have access to the entire suite. So you need to start using it now. The benefits are, of course, if you run less of a risk of losing your work. If electricity goes and your device shuts down automatically, their version is saved on the cloud for you. So these things are very beneficial, and there are even more benefits there that I'm not going to cover here. But everyone has the opportunity to discover. Coming back to the elections now, we've enlisted a very robust system for this election. We took security, anonymity, and all other aspects that would help a voter be secure in an online election. We took all these things into consideration. Even accessibility was very high on our criteria, and we procured the services of election body. You can easily go online and find electionbody.com and have a preview into their services. But I would say that on our end, in terms of engaging with the election, a secure link will be sent to each and every mailbox, and we will have the link is tailored, it is unique to the user. It will only be accessible through your inbox. It cannot be shared, and it matches your identification, right? When you vote, when you click on the link, you will see a ballot that is designed just for you, just like in the physical elections, and you are able to vote in quick time. You're able to check your vote, make sure it's what you intended to do, and then you hit submit. And you get verification in your inbox to know that you've participated fully in the election, right? Most likely, because it's the opening and the closure will be automated. So it's just going to be something to set and forget. There's no opportunity for engaging with the team to have extra time and that kind of thing. Once it ends, it ends. So I will advise anybody that is serious about participating in the election to get their vote in as early as possible. You don't want to risk waiting for last. 1 or 2 votes could influence an election, right? The fact that many of the positions are uncontested is it doesn't really matter because a position can be a candidate can receive a certain amount of votes of no confidence. So there's still confidence must be expressed in the candidate, right? So it is very important that voting still takes place because your vote is your choice. And as you said, Sydney, it's your voice. So we will be educating the electorate on election body, right? They will have an opportunity to check it out. However, it will be heavily dependent on access to your account. So from all now, students have the opportunity, our members have the opportunity. If you have not been able to access your account in the past, send an email to Campus IT Services, service desk at sta.ue.edu, and start to use your inbox again, right? Besides that, there are several opportunities that always come through from you in your inbox. If someone pays particular attention to these emails that come through, there are lots of opportunities that are beneficial to your career as as a budding academic, and even in the workplace. So it's always a good thing to check those emails. And that is what I have to say about the emailing system. I can't remember the other question at this moment.
No problem. I'm just gonna jump back in and I'm gonna do what Youth Votes Matters is gonna do for the rest of this election process and provide you with some tidbits and summaries of what President Anderson has to say. Let me just get that in because I don't think I've used it officially since your tender. I always refer to you as Mr. Anderson, depending on the context. So let me just get it one more time. President Anderson. Yes. So let's note, and this information will be provided in the form of infographics as we journey to election 2021 University of the West Indies Guild of Students. So one, ensure that you follow the University of the West Indies STA on all social media. All. You do not want to miss any of the updates. After you follow USDA, ensure that you follow Youth Vote Matters. So if you miss it there because of how the algorithms works on your profile, you can always catch it here. You can never be too safe in regards to having access to this information. Remember, your vote is your voice. So after you've followed all the social media, you have it, we move on to ensuring that we financially cleared. Please check with your registration process, ensure you submit all relevant documents. I know some students may have been still experiencing difficulties with gates. You still have time to have those issues rectified. I know the students' complaints page is working very, very hard to support the students as well as the University of the West Indies to see how best we can have these issues rectified. So please ensure that you have that sorted out because we do not want students missing the opportunity to have their voice heard in the form of their vote because of an issue such as financial clearance. So ensure that you are financially cleared and you have access to your accounts because that is extremely important. Not just for elections, but the semester is going on and we need to stay on top of our game. It's 2021. We're pushing forward with all that good energy and all that good vibes. Now, I know a lot of people stray away from using their student email. Try to remember your password. If you have to auto reset your password, please write it down, stick it on a post-it, put it on your phone, put it where you can see it so that you could use it. I did not know. Like, I felt like it was something that we could do it, but Warren just taught me that we have access to Microsoft. Sweet. It's sweet. Now I pay for mine, so now I'm here like,
You have up to 5 licenses. Up to 5 licenses you can use.
No worry, I feel it, you know, you spoke about it and I pay my bill already, so it's like, oh, sir. I mean, you live and you learn. And now, a lot of the persons on the live, you can share this information. This will be provided additional bonuses where you can't get anywhere else. So ensure you follow USTA and Youth Votes Matter. So yes, Warren, you're just gonna give me the email that they could send their request to if they're having technical difficulties again. So you're gonna message campus.
No, you message service desk, SERVICEDESK at time sta.uwi.edu.
Right. So we will have that information again in a graphic, but for those of you who are listening and making notes, if you are having trouble accessing your student email, please make the relevant contacts to have it rectified because that is going to be the medium for communication, but most importantly, your access to your ballot on voting day. And as well, marketing and communications, as Warren said, has been providing us with information continuously in terms of academia opportunities and now more so specific to the guild elections because that is what we're here to talk about tonight. So please, you do not want to miss it. Yes, the social media is going to provide you with the first-hand accessible information because sometimes it does really be a bit sad to check your email a bit. But we're going to push through. The semester is almost done. This is one of the most important parts of the semester for me, Warren. And oftentimes it's a rush because we would move from UWI splash campus carnival shenanigans straight into guild elections. And I remember having to go to forums and doing midterms at the same time. So I'm standing in a hall forum and I'm doing my foundation course multiple choice, and Mr. Brush is like, come on, we have to go. I'm like, okay. It has to be a video, A, B, C, or D. So, these are the fun memories that I think persons who have not run for election before may not have, but this is an opportunity for us to create a new culture to improve how we operate within this election process period. And I'm very excited to see how the candidates carry about themselves in this new space, because I know you spoke about burnout, and I'm really wondering how are we going to still be able to connect with students, because we don't have the opportunity to walk LRC, to meet in the quad by Alma Jordan Library and engage and have that face-to-face. So do you think it's going to be difficult for us to reach and connect during this period?
I think it takes creativity. I think it also takes substance. If you have something that is worth saying, people will come to you. They will come to you. I've seen it myself. So it really takes being able to offer value. And the positions that these candidates are vying for, they are positions of value as well. So it's about emphasizing what value that you can bring to the position. So it can be challenging for some, but for the creative ones among us who are actually going to invest time in wondering how they can get their message out, is going to benefit them greatly. The internet is full of information on how to bridge these gaps. So it ought not to be too challenging. It just takes some commitment. And certainly, we would like to see, to me, that hurdle is a measurement of the kind of candidates that are going to come to the fore. Because while it's not a popularity contest, we do want to encourage creativity. We do want to encourage commitment to substance and commitment to being able to express value and follow up on value. And speaking about value, I know I've answered the question, but if you permit, I really want to emphasize to the candidates that even before engaging in your self-promotion, there are some key things that ought to be done. One of these things I believe strongly in is reaching out to the incumbent. To me, if you have not even reached out to your incumbent, it says a lot about how you intend to go into this post, right? Reaching out to the incumbent is highly important for you to get an idea of how they have managed, the successes that they have been able to achieve, the challenges that they have faced, the challenges that have been insurmountable, right? Because this will become a part of the legacy. It will become a part of the handover. The incumbent will be able to say, listen, we've had this challenge in the past. We chipped away at it. We got through about 25%. It is now your job to take it the rest of the way. Perhaps you will achieve another 25%, and the councillors in years to come will finally get to the 100%. So engaging the incumbent is highly important. And I want to say to the electorate as well, studying the position and what is required is highly important. This year, the council, we paid service to the demands of the Constitution by fulfilling the two general meetings that are supposed to happen according to the Constitution. We had the first general meeting in semester 1, and we had the annual general meeting in semester 2. These are highly important to conducting the business of the guild. You want to ensure that the candidates you elect, the officers that you elect into office, could at least perform the bare minimum that they are called to do via the Constitution. On top of that, right, there's a rhythm to representation in the university. Guild councillors are expected to participate in meetings across the campus that ensure when students express themselves, express the issues and the challenges, that the Guild Council takes them and carries these messages where they are supposed to be heard. It is not always a matter of shouting. It's not always a matter of getting immediate response. It takes actual work in most instances. And if you elect someone that cannot take the time to write a proposal, cannot take the time to attend meetings, cannot take the time to take notes at these meetings, to come and sit with their committee, to sit with the council and discuss how do we approach these issues, how do we approach the outcomes of these meetings, then you're going to be electing an officer who will not perform. There's a lot that goes on in the background in being a guild councillor, and a lot of it is serious work. It is very serious work. The meetings that we sit in, we are paired with members of the administration who have been working these positions for years, and you are expected to run with them, keep the same pace with them. So you go into these meetings and you have to do the work, right? So this is not to scare anybody away from the positions, but it's to say to the electorate that you have a role. It is not just about coming out and putting your vote. You have a role on monitoring and evaluating the performance of the councillors and seeing that they do the job that they were elected to do. Not only because of what happens on the campus, but because more often than not, people vying for leadership positions at the university elections will continue in a track of leadership. And if you don't hold them accountable now, there's a high chance that any attitudes and values that develop now on the Guild Council will continue to extend before and extend afterwards. And if they're not held accountable now, it's going to be a very rude awakening for them going into the society. So it's a very serious role that we all have to play. We all have to be accountable for how we participate in these elections. On the surface, it may seem like, you know, it's just a school elections, and it is that. So there is a exciting aspect to it, but it does not end at the voting. But certainly, voting needs to be taken very seriously if you want to get results, if you want the administration to move in ways that are responsive to you as a student.
And Warren, when I came into tonight's session, I was like, we're gonna take it easy on them. This is the launch. But I see we're diving into some of the key issues and areas that must be taken into consideration when we are doing that critical analysis of what representation is and the type of representation we should hope to have moving into this election period. We must ensure that we have persons who can act with a certain level of accountability and transparency, so that we have, as you say, responsive measures and systems put in place, because they are acting on our behalf. They are students acting for students, and they must be able to, as you put it, run with the pace of the persons that have been doing this for years. And we have the experience and the understanding to provide some tips. So we are giving you some hints of what you can expect. You have 1, educational content. 2, content in multiple formats to engage with different types of persons. Some persons may strictly be visual. Some persons may need that auditory aspect in order to grasp the message. And we will be covering as many bases as possible with the resources that we have to ensure that we provide quality content and credible information about the University of the West Indies Guild Elections 2021. tonight's tip, Thursday tip, candidate, please, please engage with your incumbents. Come on, come on. You heard from the man himself. If you have not engaged with the person whose position you want, you have time. You have time. You could always tweak the manifesto. You could always put in a little revision notes based on the experience. And this is extremely important, as he said, because we will be able to learn from them. And looking on the outside, when we hope to provide critique of what is not being done, I think it's important for us persons who wish to occupy the position to understand the system in which work is being done, to know and truly understand why the results that you hope to see have not been achieved in the way that you wish to see. So we have Thursday tips. This was unofficial, but I feel like we might have to come back and make it a thing. Warren, do you think we have enough space on the calendar for that? I think Thursday. I think I'm gonna go back and just jot that down in the proposal and resend it for a review, because we're working with the good vibes and the good energy. But please, everyone, candidates, persons who are interested in understanding what the office means, we will provide some information and some insight. But as Warren said, you have the opportunity to do the research. We are here, we are providing the platform for the discussion to occur, but we must encourage each other to be responsible in our voice voting, because this is voice voting and we're talking with votes, to do the work to ensure that we get the representation that we want. Now, I know we started late, so we'll be wrapping up in about 4 minutes. Warren, is there anything that you want us to focus on, to highlight? I know we dived into what to expect. So as we wrap up, I'm going to go over some of these things that students are encouraged to do as we prepare for the UWI Guild elections 2021. But is there anything you want us to take into consideration as we wrap up tonight's launch party?
This is this is to the students in general or to the candidates?
To the students, to the candidates. You have enough time. You can get 1 minute students, 1 minute candidates. You know, we just quick as do it.
Well, firstly, I'd like to say to the candidates, run a clean campaign. Do not engage in any mudslinging. Mudslinging on the surface seems like it has value. I would tell you that it does not. All it says to the electorate is that you do not have enough confidence in yourself to sell yourself and to sell your value. So you believe that the next best option is to take down your opponent. And I could tell you that you're at the University of the West Indies, and the electorate is very smart. They can see through efforts like this, and they will respond, and it will affect you. So stay away from mudslinging and dirty campaign, and focus on your campaign. That's energy. That energy you put in elsewhere is energy that you can put on communicating your value to the student body. And to the student body, I would say, be vigilant. Be vigilant in the process. Learn as much as you can. Take notes, attend the forums, listen to what the candidates are saying, listen to their campaign promises, and monitor them. At the first general meeting, monitor the candidate that you would have voted for and put in office, and hold them accountable. Ask them what happened to this, what happened to that, what is the progress on this particular campaign promise, and have them respond to it, right? Don't just put people in office and just leave it there. You have a responsibility. So that is my message to the candidates and to the electorate at the St. Augustine campaign.
Thank you so much, Warren. So I'm just gonna do what we at Youth Vote Matters do best, keep it short and simple. And these are the things that you need to note as we prepare for the UWI Guild elections 2021. Ensure that you are financially cleared. Ensure that you have access to your student email. If you do not have access to your student email, Warren is gonna give you the email that you can contact. Warren.
You can contact service desk at sta.uwi.edu. uwi.edu.
Right. So you're going to contact that email. Information is going to be made available to you on social media platforms as well as via your student email. So it's extremely important that at this time for the next 2 to 3 weeks that you stay on the ball with your emails from marketing and communications, as well as to follow UWI on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know the tweets, keep it short
If
and
you would
sweet.
allow, it's the guild pages on Instagram. It's one guild STA,
Mm-hmm.
and on Facebook it's UE STA Guild.
I hope you all are paying attention. But in case you missed it, Warren is going to give you it one more time. And we're going to follow these pages from the UWI.
Yes, UE STA Guild on Facebook, or yes, and on Instagram it's one guild STA.
Right. So ensure that you follow the social media on that aspect, but also secure that you have access to the information in the forms of infographics, tidbits, and special surprises. Please ensure you follow Youth Vote Matters on Facebook so you can like, follow the page, and that you share this live. I know we're live from the UWI Guild page, which is amazing. So thank you so much for the opportunity to collaborate in such a big way to ensure that we reach the student population home in the heart. You know, I am so full of Pelican pride. I just wish I was running through LRC right now. But I am curtailing my desires a bit. So yes, ensure that you follow all the social media, ensure that you have access to your UWI email, ensure that you are financially cleared. And for the candidates, as was discussed, ensure you're on a clean campaign. Ensure you discuss your strategies, your plans, your concerns with the person who is currently occupying the position to ensure that you are prepared for forum. Because trust me, if you think in-person forum was pressure, welcome to 2021, where you are going to be challenged in ways that you did not think possible, because this representation is critical to the quality of life that the university student experiences. So please, as we said, it is a job, but if you are truly for service above self, as we say, then you're going to have no problem committing to what is required of you by the Constitution as well as by the office to ensure that you are effective in your duties. So look out for all the information via the social media platforms. Ensure that you check your emails so that you can stay up to date from marketing and communications. We will be bringing you with the updates as we get them, so you can keep your fingers on your screen to share. Please don't. Burnout is a real thing. Ensure that you take a break when you can from social media to de-stress and reflect. But we do encourage you to be critical in your analysis as we move into this UWI Guild Elections 2021 period. I am very excited on this journey. This is going to be one for the books as we continue to add to the legacy and the history of the UWI Guild. And Warren, if you have anything else to say, it has been great having this discussion with you. I look forward to the many projects that we have in the future, because this is not just going to be a campaign that is focused on the election. We are going to be working with you throughout the year, throughout the years to come, to ensure that students have the opportunity and the platform to be active in that discussion and that road to student leadership, and, as we say, encouraging democracy. So Warren, any closing words?
That's it. I think everything has been said. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for coming
Have
out.
a good night, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ensure that you like, share the live, follow the pages, and we look forward to engaging with you continuously as we journey to the UWI Guild Election 2021. So thank you for tuning in, and do have an amazing week. It's almost Friday, so let's get those assignments in so that we could probably head to the beach for the weekend.